computer is going so slow.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back. Rocking in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
All right, everybody. It is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 517, a part of the Lineups Podcast Network at lineups.com, the Big Heads Media Network at bigheadsmedia.com, and Dash Radio. Our website is the New York Knicks podcast.com, and you go there to check out Ticket Club, get $20% off an annual membership using code NYKP. Mark, how you doing?
Good. Some shows your audio level is a little low, Jay.
Don't even, is it?
I'm not like joking with you.
Oh, you're not even joking? Okay. Good. That's good.
That's better.
That's better? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like a little low. This is how all podcasts should start off with this kind of content. Basically our show started off how the Knicks started off against the Raptors.
That was a sweet transition.
Yes. Last show we ended the show by doing our predictions for the week. Knicks were playing 3 games, and we predicted the Knicks would go 2-1 because we want to be optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if we really believed it, but we got it correct. We nailed it.
I mean, we're pretty much geniuses.
Yeah. We nailed win at Cleveland, lose at Toronto, and win at Indiana, and it actually happened. And how good are you feeling about this Knicks team, Jay? From 1 to 10.
I mean, it's
and obviously like 10 doesn't mean we're winning a title, but 10 just how good are you feeling with the team?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it's even if they're not going to win a ton of games, it's a fun team.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very, very fun roster. More fun than we've had in quite a while.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's there's no players that I'm like. I know a lot of people get frustrated with Randle, but we're perpetually confused about that. It's a likable team. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, Randle has started really winning back over Knicks Twitter and like the blogosphere with his passing. Everyone's biggest critique for getting the dribbling too much and spitting into traffic. That drove people crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing was like they didn't like his passing and like the isolation ball. It was like, can you pass the ball? And he's like, hell yeah, I can pass the ball. I'm gonna pass it like there's no matter what, if it's not falling, like it did not fall in the Toronto game, I will not stop passing the ball.
Yeah.
The Toronto game where the Knicks went 3 for 36 from 3, which was god awful, like historically maybe the worst 3-point shooting performance in Knicks history. Randle actually, I think I saw online it was the someone posted on Twitter. It was either 12 or 15 of those 3-point shots were like off of. I mean, they missed the shots, but they were off of Randle passes.
Right. He had 5 assists with all those misses. So,
right.
Yeah.
He would have gotten more. Obviously, the Knicks could barely shoot, but just the idea that most of these 3-point shots, and most of them are been open shots. In all the games, the Knicks are shooting not a lot of. The Knicks are shooting a solid percentage over. Actually, coming into the Toronto game, they were leading the league in 3-point shooting percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're not, obviously.
No.
But most of the shots are open shots. They're not taking a lot of contested looks, and the Knicks are not. They're not high as far as the number of 3-point attempts. They're near the bottom of the league in that category.
Yeah.
But they're taking open shots, and a lot of the open shots are created because Randle draws a double team and kicks out. That's what you want your big man to do.
Which is what was not happening last year. Last year he was holding on to the ball too long, either turning it over, taking a contested shot. And now that he's passing it more, it opens up a lot of things because opposing teams have to also pay attention to the open man, and it's not just like, oh, we can ease up and just double team Randle because he's going to take the shot no matter what. Which was, I think that's what happened with KP after a while too. Everyone's like, yeah, there's no way he's passing. We'll just double team him every time and shut him down.
Yeah, I mean KP obviously can get better, but like in his last hurrah with the Knicks, he had started the season off so good and it got atrocious because the teams would just like. They wouldn't let him get to where he wanted, like near the basket. and they would double team him, and he had no idea what to do because passing the ball was not an option.
No, and it's predictable, and other teams pick up on that pretty quickly.
So you know what this reminds me of a little bit? Just because I guess, and obviously not the same player, and not as good a passer either. But if you remember Thibs in Chicago, he had Derrick Rose. Obviously, Derrick Rose, the first iteration of Derrick Rose was a premier point guard, and that was fantastic. But then Rose got injured, and what did Thibs do when Rose got injured, Jay? You remember?
He,
no,
Sorry
to make a trivia. So basically, what Thibs did then was like, we need to we don't have Rose. We need to redesign the offense. Who's the offense going to go through?
He did
Noah.
He did point Noah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he did point Noah, which is like you're taking your big and making him the point guard. And Noah was a lot more times he'd be at the top of the key throwing like solid, like really good passes. But it was just a great. It's similar in the sense of like he basically probably used. I don't know what he said to Randle to unlock him, but something he probably was like, "Hey, I did this with Noah. Noah became a star player because of this. You pass more, everyone's going to love you, and the team is going to play better. And here's the example. Here's an amazing example of it working under my coaching."
Yeah, and it really is working. It's Randle looks like an all-star this season.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll actually be an all-star, but it's really close. If we had signed anyone and they were playing as well as Randle, we'd all be like, sounds good. I'm very excited about this. He's only 26? That's crazy. He's going to turn 27 for a while. I think his birthday's in November. So he's literally only 3 years older than Toppin, the guy we just drafted and we're excited about.
Yeah. And no Zapatekos. I am not saying we need to sign Noah for a max. We're still paying Noah. And
we already signed Noah for next.
And we'll be paying Noah next year.
No, and Randle, like, as far as what you want to do with him, whether he deserves an extension or his future with the Knicks, there's a team option on next year. The smartest thing would be to do is see how it goes starting next year. Then you can always renegotiate. Let's see how this rest of the year plays out. See how next year goes. You can always sign him to a long-term deal if he's playing that well in the future. You know what I also liked?
What?
His defense doesn't look so bad.
He did a good job, yeah. Yeah, he was there was a couple times last night I was watching and I'm like, he actually looks pretty solid on defense.
I mean, so last night's game was the Pacer game, which was just an awesome victory. But by the way, I had my kids on the bed watching with me, like getting excited at the end of the game, and I was like, this is so awesome. The Knicks are playing good basketball. My kids are like my daughter was just like attacking my son, like wrestling around, joking around, but like when they did focus, it was like we all like cheered when the Knicks won. It was kind of cool.
It's a lot more fun to watch when they're not playing like garbage. Nomad is asking, should the Knicks extend Randle or trade him, use him as a trade chip?
So I was going to add that. I would just wait and see. I would see if he plays well the rest of the season. Why are you trading him? Like, what are you going to convert him into?
I don't think you're going to get enough value for him.
Right. If you get a first-round pick, I mean, like right now, if Toppin turned out to be as good as Randle is playing currently, wouldn't you be pretty excited?
I'd be very excited. I don't think Toppin's ever going to be that good.
I mean, and maybe well, it's not knocking Toppin. Like maybe he will. But just saying, Randle's playing at a high enough level. He's 26. He's got a long, as far as like, you probably have 6 more years of his prime. Like just assuming that most players start like losing it around 32.
Yeah.
I mean, what point do you start trying to become better? Like maybe Randle's the guy you build around.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Dart's theory is that Randle and Siakam have swapped bodies because all Siakam does is spin into traffic now.
Siakam has not played that well lately.
No. There's been a couple players that have had a surprisingly bad season, and a few of them are on my fantasy team.
You got Oubre, right?
I have Oubre who's shooting 2% from 3 for the season.
You're being a jerk. It's 4%.
4%.
4%, not 2%. He's not that bad. 4% of the shots.
And then I have Eric Bledsoe and Donovan Mitchell, who are both having really bad seasons for them. So
I saw on Twitter someone posted they posted maybe it's NBA something or other posted the list of the worst 3-point shooters, and someone responded, "How in the world do you shoot 4% from 3?" And someone's response was, "You make only 4% of the shots you take." Okay, answering literally. But I was gonna say I was expecting last night. Like the one thing I thought the Knicks had a chance of winning coming in, but I assume Sabonis has been so good against the Knicks. Last year, he crushed the Knicks. Game 1 of the season, he crushed the Knicks. I thought he would just eat the Knicks alive. Win or lose, I thought he'd crush the Knicks tonight. Or Knicks last night. Randle did a great job. Mitch did a good. Sabonis really was not a huge factor.
No, he wasn't. And that's between Turner and Sabonis. That's a tough cover.
Also, Turner had like 7 blocks in his first game against the Knicks. He had 1 last night.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if the coach said, "Hey, I looked at the game film. I looked at the game tape. Here's how we're going to play better, to neutralize these players."
It's almost like they're a team that now follows up on things they did wrong and tries to correct it instead of doing the same thing for 80 straight games.
It's funny. The Knicks played so well last night, with especially like attacking the basket. Someone asked us on Twitter. They were like, "You think the Knicks played well? Like, is it they're really playing this well, or the Pacers are just terrible at cover at the Pacers are just terrible on defense?" I was like, I don't know. Turner's one of the best shot blockers in the league. I know Sabonis is not amazing on defense, but Victor Oladipo is also like an elite defender, or had been before his injury. Maybe the Knicks are just playing well.
I think they're just playing well. They have the same record as the Nets.
Yeah. The Nets. Certain things. I guess. I just want to add one thing about. So I had a great experience watching the game with the Pacer game with my kids. On New Year's Eve, the Knicks were playing Toronto. The Knicks had been pretty tight most of the game until like middle of the third quarter. I called my son. I was like, "You got to watch the rest of the game with me." He comes down. The Knicks go from like basically almost like a tie game to blowing the entire game the rest of the way. I was like, "You're not helping, Knicks. I want my son to be a lifelong fan. You are not helping right now." How are you doing, Jay?
I am doing all right. Welcome everybody who's joining us live. We're doing all the shows live, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon. And I kind of like having the chat room going. That adds to the show.
Crumpled bacon is, if everyone knows, that was Patrick Ewing's favorite food to eat before games.
Yeah.
Right, Jay?
Yeah, everyone knows that. That's
Everyone
why the channel's named that, obviously. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory, but, you know.
Yeah. The Knicks played 3 games this week. They played Cleveland, in which I watched on DVR. Jay texted me beforehand just being like, "Hey, I just saw the list of Knicks who have gotten triple doubles in the last 20 years, and the list is pretty pathetic." And I'm like, "Oh, that's weird. Why did Jay tell me about the Knicks who got triple doubles?" Not knowing Randle would have a triple double by the end of the night.
Wasn't the list like 8 in 20 years or something?
It was pathetic. It was an absolutely pathetic.
Like
list.
other teams have like 8 in a season, or if you have Westbrook, like 8 in 8 games. But yeah, the Knicks was like 8 in 20 years, and it was like the most random set of players too. It was.
I think Peyton got one, right? Barry Hazonia got one.
Hazonia was like the most random one on there. Yeah.
Wasn't Peyton on there though?
I don't think so.
Oh, I think Jared Jack was on there.
Jared Jack, David Lee. Then by the time they hit 5 or 6, they had to go all the way back to like 92. I was seeing like Mark Jackson and Latrell Sprewell. I was like, Jesus, this is sad.
Well, I think they capped it at 2000. It was since 2000, but
yeah, but still, that's 20. It's 20 years.
Really pathetic. It's really pathetic. Yeah, I mean the Knicks, the cast of characters they've had here has just been like it's been a little bit pathetic. So one thing I've noticed also is that fans seem to absolutely love rookies or players the Knicks develop, and if you're signed here as a free agent, the fans just never want to come around on you.
Mm-hmm.
And
unless
one
you're
guy,
mellow.
Yeah. Do you think Elfrid Payton is getting too much? I know he wasn't amazing last year. He's played pretty darn well this season. Why does Knicks Twitter still hate him?
Payton's been playing really well since I dropped him from my fantasy team.
He basically had 2 really bad games to start the year, and the last 4 games, he's been pretty solid. I don't know why you hate on him for the last 4 games.
He's been fine. I think, though, that there's going to be 2 changes to the starting lineup by All-Star break.
Well, one of them I hope happens really, really soon. Are you? Well, tell me what you think.
Well, I think you know the first one. I think quickly he's going to take Peyton's starting spot.
I don't think that's going to happen as fast as people would like it to happen. I think it's going to be.
I mean, All-Star break is like game 47 or something, so that's why I say that.
I would say there's going to be at least another 10 games before. Like I think Tibbs is going to want to give quickly some time, a lot of time to develop as to lead the second unit.
Mm-hmm.
He's a rookie. I think Tibbs is going to wait a little while on putting him in the starting rotation, especially if Peyton just starts sucking, then it'll happen faster. But if Peyton plays the way he's playing right now, and whatever you want to say about Peyton, just look at the stats. Despite having 2 horrible games, he's shooting almost 50% from 50% from the field. He's shooting almost 50% from 3. I don't think that's sustainable. But what is very interesting about him is he's been attacking the paint so much better lately. Anyway, I don't think Peyton is going to. How soon do you think it's going to happen?
I think by like game 45 through 47, something like that.
Oh, I thought you said in like.
No, I said by the All-Star break.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. That's fair.
I was like, why are you arguing with me and then talking about game 4? Like,
I was going to say 10 to 20 games from now, but
okay.
I can see by midseason quickly taking over. I mean, the thing is, quickly's only also played 2 games basically, and not even major minutes in either game. So like, we're really making a major jump for him.
Yeah. By a step, that's my hot take prediction.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I think we're all really excited about him. Hopefully he's as good as everyone thinks he is, but like we shouldn't like just say like he's the greatest thing. Let's just not overhype him just yet.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
The other one, I think Bullock's days are numbered. I think either Rivers or Burks is going to take his spot. I think both take his spot. I think Bullock will probably be out of the rotation when both of those guys are healthy.
I think you're right. I think Bullock is out of the starting lineup for the next game. I think at the end of the game, we saw Tibbs wanted to leave Bullock in and was just like, screw it. Rivers is taking over for him. I think Rivers starts next game.
He might. And then when Burks comes back, that's it for Bullock.
Yeah, I mean, Bullock has really not been that good.
No.
He's came in as like his major. He's not like an amazing defender. His major thing is I'm a good 3-point shooter. And he was not very good last year. He was below league average last year, and he's below league average this year. He doesn't do a lot else on the court. I've not been loving Bullock.
Yeah, if he keeps playing like that, why wouldn't you play the other 2 guys over him?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, well, Rivers is the point guard. You can play. Well, what do you take to the argument, Jay, that can you play 2 point guards together? Rivers and Peyton, or Rivers and IQ?
Why would you want 2 ball handlers and distributors on the court at the same time? That's ridiculous.
I think Jay told me that someone said that on Twitter, and he's like, what are you talking about? The Knicks, the only time they've been good in the last 20 years was the year they tried doing this.
No, that was because you were saying like the Knicks should have drafted Halliburton instead of Toppin, and somebody said, well, they wouldn't have drafted quickly. I'm like, why couldn't they have just drafted both?
I mean, it would be nice to see the Knicks splitting the point guard minutes between Quickly and Halliburton, but yeah, I'm going to try to get over this year's draft.
Is there anybody who would complain if it was Halliburton instead of Peyton?
It's like, no, we need a young point guard. We need a young point guard. We cannot have 2 young point guards.
No,
that's
ridiculous.
Too much. Do you think next game Rivers takes over?
I don't know if it's going to be next. It's going to be in the next, sometime next week, definitely.
I mean, the starting unit tends to get the most minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like Bullock's been playing like 30 minutes or close to that. Why not put Rivers? Rivers just looks like a better player. Rivers also, like, he's come off 2 games. Bullock has played 6 games, hasn't been very good. Why not give Rivers the chance? It would not be absurd to switch one vet for another vet.
Right. Yeah. So I think by the end of the season, we have Quickly, Rivers, Barrett, Randle, Mitch.
So, yeah. What do you say to the fans who came into the season going, the draft next year looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All the Knicks have to do, and obviously the lottery is not guaranteed anymore with the way the system is, but the Knicks need a top 10 pick. Losing only helps them. We need to tank. And these wins are great, but they're on the back of veterans, and we need to lose. What do you say to someone who says that right now?
At this point, the Knicks never really tanked. They just had terrible teams.
Yeah.
What are you going to do other than like trade away Randall? I mean,
you could argue let's give Knox 40 minutes and let's give Iggy 35 minutes and let's just put up don't play any veterans.
But like if you like Randall, doing that is going to drive him away. So like you kind of have to just keep going and do what you're doing.
I mean, there's no perfect way to build a team. I mean, I like the idea of like, hey, if you're bad, you get someone amazing out of the draft and you build from there.
The way I see it is right now they're doing fine. Don't change anything except Bullock. And if somehow you're still playing Randall all these minutes and they lose like 12 in a row, then you think about tanking. But right now, you just try and win as many games as possible and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there is a certain amount of let's build a culture here where any rookie coming in can be really good because he's coming into this culture.
Yeah.
It seems like they're building a culture here. Like Thibs has got them playing the right way. A lot of teams are not built on number 1 picks. So and the thing is, Halliburton was a number 12 pick. He might be really good. Donovan Mitchell was later in the draft. There are a lot of players who end up being really good who are later in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. We didn't get we haven't got a Luka Doncic, but and maybe with with Randall, we can build around him. Barrett will get better. Maybe IQ ends up being really good, and we build from there.
Yeah.
So we did for this episode five things we like, and we covered kind of a lot of things I like already. But
I think
but 5 things
we kind of covered
the skips anyway. 5 things we like, 5 things we don't like, as a way to kind of talk about where the team is. Let's start with the 5. You want to start with the 5 likes?
Yeah, sure. We're on a positive streak. Let's keep it.
Yeah, let's keep it positive. I had before after I made most of my list after the Toronto game, so it was so much easier to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, I got to make this more positive after the Pacer win. But overall, so I guess I put on my first thing on the list was Randall's passing and his triple double and being the new Joakim Noah.
Okay,
I love his passing.
Point Randall. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think this is sustainable? I know I asked this last show. I'm going to ask it again.
I don't see why not. I mean, he's not all of a sudden going to become a bad passer. The only thing that's going to stop is if he decides instead of 20 points a game, he wants to score 28 points a game, and then he just stops passing. But I have a feeling Thibs wouldn't put up with that.
No, it seems also he's not so concerned with getting the most points. It seems like he just wants to win and wants. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's a player that's only concerned about his own stats.
Yeah.
I understand people have said he was really frustrated with how he was being treated in New York, I guess by fans from last season, and now he's been a lot happier also because the fans' response has really changed.
Yeah, I still don't. I mean, his spin move was very frustrating, but he got so much blame for such a garbage team.
Right. I mean, I felt I guess they had Marcus Morris for part of the season last year, who took some of the really offensive load. But I feel he came into a system where the coach was just I'm going to only speak in cliches instead of actually coaching. Yeah. And there was really no, and the coach is hey, Randall, you do everything and you pass. You're LeBron James. Go for it. Yeah. And he'd be okay, how are we going to make it? Okay. If you could try it, you can do it. But Fizz, you can only reach mountaintops if you climb the mountain. Okay, I'm going to go do some spin moves now.
I wonder if he just read movie quotes during halftime.
Yes. The whole time, it's all he speaks in only quitters lose. Right. Okay, coach, we have a second half to play.
It's coach, are you going to run a play for this timeout? He's just starts quoting Rocky IV. It's yeah, but coach, who's going to pass in the ball? And he just starts quoting Braveheart. It's okay, I'll just do my spin move. Thanks, coach.
Coach, we need a play. I mean, we call the timeout. What's the play? And for now on, July 4th will be our Independence Day. Okay, coach. Cool. We're just gonna see how this goes.
Yeah.
I mean, the team, this was so bad that Mike Miller, who's fine, but he's not a really highly experienced coach, the team looked so much better under. He was just competent, and now we have an actual coach who knows what he's doing. It makes such a difference. But I think overall, Randle does not feel the weight on his shoulders to carry this team anymore, which I think will make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Also, so another thing, you say Randle's passing for your first thing?
Yeah, Point Randle I liked.
Okay, so Austin Rivers had some awesome quotes. I don't know if you saw any of his quotes.
I did not.
Okay, so his first quote, he put this on, I guess, Instagram or whatever, or his Twitter. I'm not sure where he posted this, but it was I saw it a lot on Twitter. This is what he said. Usually I don't comment on this type of stuff, but it's a process. Trust us, we're getting better. We have a new great coach, all new players, really young, learning to play with each other and get chemistry right. And we still getting all the way healthy. It's a process, but I promise we're getting there step by step. Just be there for us. We need you all. You're all part of our success and growth too. Nick's going to be fire again. But our process starting now. Happy New Year. Stay safe.
All right. That's good.
I liked, and then his other quote was, we play hard. So I'll be honest. The one thing I know I have to do tonight, I might make everything. I might miss everything. I'm going to get that feel and rhythm back as I play these games. But the one thing that has to be consistent is when I'm out there, I've got to play hard because that's what our team is symbolized as right now. We're one of these teams. There's not an off night when they play the Knicks. That's the mindset we're trying to establish here. I know makes and misses can waver, but your effort can't. This kind of what Thibs has instilled in the team. I'm just going to come in and play hard.
Pretty sure that's not from Twitter. I think that would exceed the character limitation.
I maybe from an interview. But I like these two quotes because it just sounded like Thibs is getting through to the players. They're all buying in.
Yeah.
I get that, so Rivers apparently had other options. I mean, he's been in the league for a little while. He has skills. He had other options. Every other team that would have been another option would be a better team than the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad, Doc, basically recommended he go to the Knicks. Why do you think he recommended he go to the Knicks?
Minutes.
I don't know. I didn't actually see a reason why. My guess is Doc coached with Thibs, and Thibs was his assistant in Boston. He probably was like, "You're going to get a really good coach who's going to give you a really good chance."
Well, he probably also saw the guard rotation and said, "Yeah, he's probably the best guard on the team."
Yeah, you're going to get minutes with a really good coach. This is better for your career.
Yeah, because you think about it, if he has a really good season, he's going to get paid.
I think the Knicks, he has some kind of player option. A team option, I think. I think he has a 3-year deal where the next 2 years aren't guaranteed. They're the Knicks option.
That's team.
Him signing with the Knicks made sense. I don't know if he had I don't know if he got to read the contract ahead of time. It doesn't sound like it's very favorable to him.
No. Nobody's asking, which would you guys keep and continue investing in, Knox or Frank? Remember, Frank might need an extension soon.
I don't know. Knox. So my next thing I was going to say is, and actually, I guess maybe last night was, I don't know if I agreed last night, but I was going to say that Knox seemed like he's been getting a little better. There's been a slight improvement. Have you seen any improvement from him?
And you're saying that after his 0 for 4 game?
Yeah, last night wasn't so good. I felt like up to this point he's been. So here's where I think he's been getting better. He looks like he belongs on an NBA court. His defense actually has been getting better. I felt coming into the season he was abysmal on defense. Now it looks like he kind of knows where to be on defense, and he's not playing such bad defense. So that makes a big difference. His shooting, sometimes he's moving around also on offense a lot. He's doing a lot of cutting. He's trying to get open for 3. The makes aren't going down. He's still horrendous at finishing at the rim.
I wouldn't miss either one of them.
Frank actually has been shooting well in his limited playing time.
He's injured again, right?
He's injured always.
And Smith is always injured too. You don't need...
Can I ask you so one of the things this is my things I don't like column.
Okay.
But I understand people said because of a shortened training camp, guys are going to get more injuries.
Yeah, Nomad was saying there's been a lot more blowouts because a lot of players that were deep in the bubble are getting burnt out.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you do some running before training camp? Could you try to get a little bit in shape for it? The Knicks haven't played since March. Can you try to get ready for the season?
I mean, there wasn't that many teams that were that deep into the bubble, right?
I mean, yeah, there weren't that many teams that went really deep. I mean, the Lakers went deep. I mean, like not too many. Miami went deep. I understand that hurts you. The Knicks, obviously, not even in the bubble. Like Frank keeps getting injured. DSJ keeps getting injured. I mean, DSJ kind of done with. Are you done with him?
I think everybody's done with him.
I don't think they should give him any more minutes. I think, barring injury to other players, he does not play again.
Who are you going to take minutes away from? I mean, you want Rivers.
I'm saying if other guys, if there's enough injuries, sure, he can play again. Otherwise, like, the dude doesn't play again.
No, I'm just saying, like, you want Quickly, Rivers, and Burks playing. If you play Smith, you're taking minutes away from one of those guys.
Yeah, the minutes get tight real soon. If everyone's healthy, I'm not sure how they're going to work everyone back in.
Well, that's when Burks is back, I think he gets Bullock's, Rivers and Burks take Bullock's minutes. Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, Toppin goes back. You feel like Toppin has to play just because he's the 8th pick, right? But whose minutes does he take?
He takes Noel's minutes.
But you gotta, I mean, like, then are you gonna play Randle and Toppin together? Or Randle's been playing a lot of minutes. Like, he played 44 minutes against Cleveland. He played 37 against Toronto and 38 against 37-38 against Pacers and Toronto. He's been averaging the second most minutes in the league.
So, maybe he plays 5 less minutes. That's 5 for Toppin, and then you play 5 less minutes in Noel.
You make it work, I guess.
Yeah, you just it's thin, but Toppin doesn't need a ton of minutes right now.
Someone pointed out, I also saw that Barrett tended to play best last season when he had played a little bit less minutes. When he was closer to 30 minutes, his numbers were better. When he was playing 35 or above, his numbers were just worse.
Mm-hmm.
Do you scale back Barrett's minutes a little bit? Like, does Barrett need to play 40 minutes a game?
No, nobody should be playing more than like 35, really. So, now you're already up to 15 for Toppin.
Right. Toppin, I mean, like, Burks coming back, he gets more. Burks has to play 20 minutes. You feel like Austin Rivers has to play 20 minutes. We want Quickly to play like 20 minutes a game, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough rotation, right? Like, making all this work with everyone healthy. And then you have to fit in Frank and fit in Knox.
Maybe you don't fit them in.
I don't know.
Maybe you say,
Are fans really upset if you don't fit Knox and Frank in?
Yes.
Is it a loss? Have we lost the season if we don't fit those guys in?
No. Those people are just going to have to wait until next season when nobody else wants them and be like, oh, maybe they weren't that good.
If you were to do a Knicks young player power ranking off the top of your head right now,
mm-hmm.
Where the players are with how they're playing this season and where they are with the organization, as far as like priorities,
mm-hmm.
Who's number one?
Barrett.
Yeah, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2,
Robinson.
Yeah, fair. Who's number 3?
I think they're going to say Toppin.
Is there a chance IQ is going to jump him just because he's a guard and they need his skill set? Like, in the Toppin, maybe long term, but short term, IQ is more important this season.
I would rank IQ higher, but I think the organization would rank Toppin higher.
Okay. So 3-4 is Toppin and IQ.
Yeah.
Who's 5?
5, I guess Knox.
Yeah, Knox just because he has one extra year. Frank right below him, and then who cares after that?
Yeah, Smith.
Like, Iggy. It's weird. In year 2, he's going to knock it off the bench, but maybe they don't think that highly of Iggy.
Maybe what?
Maybe they don't feel so highly about Iggy. Just changing players. Sorry.
Oh, he got a DNP last night, so I'm pretty sure they don't feel too high on him.
But so Knox and Frank, what's the answer here? Like, do we prioritize their minutes, or they get what they get and they got to earn it?
They get what they get. Either somebody gets injured and they get back into the rotation, or maybe you flip him at the trade deadline.
Yeah. I mean, of the two, who has a longer NBA career?
Knox.
It's the eternal question I ask every week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Frank should have the longer career, but Knox will because he's flashier, and that tricks a lot of people.
He's more aggressive, and Frank's lack of aggression people don't like his lack of aggression.
Nomad wants to know, if the Knicks made the playoffs, would you be willing to change your son's name to Thibs?
Maybe his middle name. If they win the title, we are all going to buy Thibs.
I mean,
legally.
Yeah, who cares about middle names? Change it.
Yeah, exactly. Would you get a Thibs jersey?
Why not? I mean, the Knicks change players so often, it's almost impossible to get a Knicks player jersey anymore. It's
I think I'm going to get one jersey for the Knicks right now. I think I'm going to get a Thibs jersey. He's my number one jersey right now.
It's like NBA 2K. It's like irrelevant the very next year because they come out with a new version.
Yeah, I mean, so other things you're like. What's your next thing that you like? If we haven't covered it already.
Mitch getting his fouls fairly under control.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while he has a game where he slips up, but he was playing against Sabonis and Turner last night and only had 3. If that was last season, he would have played 12 minutes and had 5 fouls.
Yeah, he's doing a much better job of staying on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And a little thing he's doing, I've noticed, is that when they give him the ball at the top of the key, which I still don't understand giving the ball at the top of the key to a guy who can't shoot a 3,
mm-hmm.
But he's been dribbling a little bit, so he's not so stagnant when he tries to pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a touch, but it's been helpful, I feel like, for distributing the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did Mitch Robinson, going to my things I didn't like, why did Mitch Robinson shoot so many threes in those videos in the offseason?
I mean, everyone does. Remember when you were all crazy about
Yes.
Cauley Stein? Like, everyone does that.
But why are you even working? If you're never going to shoot it in the game, why are you even working on it?
Wasn't Ben Simmons posting stuff like that too? Like,
probably. Wouldn't you be like, you know what the video I want to see of him doing some moves around the rim, him shooting a jumper from 10 feet away? Those are the skill set he needs to really work on.
Yeah.
Do you like all his putbacks last night?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, he had 3 in the first couple minutes of the game.
Yeah, it was just like, we missed a shot. No, we didn't miss a shot because Mitchell Robinson's there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Other things I liked. So Barrett. First of all, can we convince Barrett that he's always playing the Pacers?
Yeah, seriously. It seems like those are clearly his best games by far.
I mean, his stats against the Pacers are all-star level. His stats against everyone else is some of the worst stats we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But Barrett, one thing I've noticed about Barrett, which I really have liked lately, is so his shooting numbers have not been great, right?
You could say that, yeah. I mean, that list of worst 3-point shooters for the season, he was, 4th worst?
So here's the stat I think is the most encouraging stat I've seen from Barrett, the whole thing. Last year, he was 61% from the free throw line. This year, he's almost 80%.
That's very good, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I think the first thing, to be a good shooter, the first thing you got to be able to do is make your free throws. No one's a good shooter that doesn't hit their free throws.
True.
So I feel like if you start getting better at this, then maybe your overall shot is getting better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hitting free throws is a sign that you are capable of shooting.
Right. I mean, you never were like, I see how Shaq shoots 50% from the free throw line. I bet he should shoot long threes.
Right, right.
I don't know. I think that's the most encouraging stat I've seen from Barrett. He's been playing hard. I like overall how he's been playing. What else you got?
I have liked the diversity of the lineups they could put out there. So, they have a few guys who can shoot now. They have a few guys who can distribute. They have some defenders, and they can mix and match. And it's going to get better when Burks comes back. Instead of having like 2 good players like they did last year, they actually can put together like a few different lineups.
Right. I like when Randle was playing poorly last night, or as far as shooting, you had like Peyton driving, and Peyton took over the offense. When Burks is healthy, he can carry a lot of the weight of the offense. Austin Rivers making shots, he carries some of the weight. It's better than it was last year. Better than it's been in a while.
Yeah.
I was also going to say I love hearing these stories about the guys who were staying late to work on their shot. Like Peyton stayed after game 2 to work on a shot. Suddenly he could shoot. Barrett stayed after the Toronto game. He's like, I got to work on my shot. Suddenly he could shoot.
And he's looked much better since.
I mean, it's only been one game, but yeah. Anything else on the what you've liked?
No, that covered all my stuff.
The only thing I wanted to add was what do you think of Cleveland's the nickname of their backcourt? Have you heard the nickname? Sexland?
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know. I was like, oh, well, that worked out. That is correct. I mean, I don't like their actual backcourt, but I like the nickname.
That's Sexton and Garland. For those who don't know.
Sexton's been playing really well on offense.
I always wanted Rudy Gay and Kevin Love to have the front court.
Oh, yes. That would be pretty good also. I feel like Cleveland, you're like, hey, you know what would be good? If we have 2 guys who can play any defense being our guards.
What a crazy concept. That would never work.
2 guys who can play a lick of defense. Let's see how this goes. Okay, going to the list of things you do not like. My number one thing on the list was Bullock still being in the starting lineup. I want Austin Rivers or someone to replace him. What do you got on your list of things you don't like?
Yeah, no, that's on there. That's on there.
Turnovers team wide. I mean, Randle's been turning the ball over too much. Peyton a little bit more than he normally does. Overall, the team has not been as, despite they're playing harder and they're playing for a really good coach, they've not been as careful with the basketball as I'd like.
Yeah. I mean, last night turnovers was 15-8, and that could have cost the Knicks the game.
Yeah, every game they're like a way too hot. I don't know every game you see a couple passes where you're like, yeah, I can see that one coming. I understand why the team stole the ball. Like, it was obvious you're going to make that pass.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Toronto game, the Knicks could not shoot. I would have liked to see him. Like, I think he has trouble when guys are healthy. He has no chance of getting back, cracking the rotation. But I would have liked to see a little bit more of what Jared Harper could do. Really? I know he's 15th guy on the bench.
Yeah.
But supposedly he could shoot. He played really well in the G League last year. And anyone who could shoot, I know he's undersized at 6 foot. But anyone that could shoot, he's supposed to be a solid player. Like, if you could shoot, you could do more than most of the guys.
I think this is the first and only Jared Harper reference. Enjoy it, because I don't think we'll hear his name again.
Yeah, if anything, I expect he'll be in the G League again this year. And maybe he'll look pretty good, and maybe he's some guy, if injuries happen, he'll play later. But as we just said, it's hard to crack the rotation right now.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I don't like the way a lot of the young guys have been playing. Smith, Knox, Frank. I don't like it, and that's a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously you're like, Knicks could have drafted a little better every year, basically.
Yeah, who was it? Zapatego said the Knicks could have gotten Shea instead of Knox.
They could have gotten Shea. You know who else they could have gotten instead of Knox? Besides also Michael Porter, which would have been nice. Mikal Bridges. Have you seen what he's been doing in Phoenix?
Yeah,
he's pretty solid.
He's been solid.
Yeah, he looks exactly like the guys where the Knicks are like, the guy's not that high of a ceiling. I don't know. He's not that flashy. Let's go with the project who could be a star. The other guy tends to end up having a better career.
You were really mad about Porter during the draft.
I was really mad. The 2 guys I wanted were either Porter or Bridges. I don't usually get this right, but I think I was pretty spot on there.
Yeah, I was I was surprised that you were so mad about Porter, but it turned out that was the right. That would have been the right choice.
I think I was on Posting and Toasting. Someone asked who did the Knicks take versus who did you want in each draft? Let's going back real quickly. Porzingis, you nailed that draft, obviously. I think I wanted Cauley Stein, right?
Yeah.
So I could not have been more wrong.
No.
And so it's like also like there are ones like I admit I was so wrong. The Porzingis thing I not watched. Jay called it from the middle of the season. You just nailed the Porzingis pick.
Well, thank you.
The next year they didn't draft. They didn't have a first round pick. The year after that was Frank, right?
Yes.
So I think we both kind of settled on Frank. I know there was a little bit of, I think he gives some credit to Tommy D. He was the one person online saying the Knicks should like really take a look at Donovan Mitchell. We did not say that. He nailed that one. But I don't think like the main guys were Malik Monk and Dennis Smith who were being seriously considered there. Obviously, those guys both suck also. Frank was probably the better pick, but...
yeah, Monk is collecting DNPs right now.
Yeah, Monk supposedly he's very unhappy with his playing time. I think that Charlotte responded...
if I was in the NBA and I was getting 0 minutes a game, I'd be unhappy.
It's just like, I'm very unhappy. Yeah, we're very unhappy with your play, so it's even.
He was putting up decent numbers at the end of last season.
He doesn't play a lot of defense, and like I think they're just like, we have better players now.
Yeah.
So we just can't give you minutes.
I mean, they got Hayward, Rondo, and Ball, so that's it for Monk.
Right, we're trying to be better. Like it is like it's like I like Knox. If they had someone better, he might just take his spot. It's just especially the young player. But so the next year was Knox. I think I nailed that. Who did you want that year? Do you remember?
Instead of Knox?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back. I don't remember. It definitely wasn't Knox.
I remember being really upset about Knox. And I also, to be fair, the Knicks played in Summer League then. Knox looked good in Summer League, and I was all in on Knox. But I also want to be all in on anyone the Knicks have. Once you're a Knick, you're a Knick. Then RJ, I think we all just said RJ, right? There was no one else you wanted to take.
Yeah. I mean that was like a 3-player draft, and the Knicks were picking third, so that was like a no-brainer.
Right. We were not going like, hey, this guy Tyler Hero, they should move. Like, we didn't make that kind of smart call, and we wanted Morant or Zion, but the Knicks just couldn't draft them. And then this past year, who did you? I guess neither of us wanted Toppin. I said I wanted Halliburton or Denny.
Yeah, same here.
Yes. I guess the time will tell.
I think I was so obsessed with Doncic, I didn't even pay attention to who the Knicks should have drafted.
You mean like a couple of years ago?
For the Knox draft.
Oh, for the Knox draft. Yeah. You were really all in on Doncic very early in that season. And you were right. Though Doncic's not having the best start to the year, but I would trade the entire team for him right now.
Yeah. He's been a little disappointing this season, but it's 5 games, so it's settled down. Yeah.
I think I just looked at it. His like shooting percentages are not that great.
No.
Although he's also he's such a good player. His numbers will come back up. Like,
I mean, everyone was going nuts about Dallas this year, but I thought their rotation looked pretty bad.
Yeah, they don't have much of a bench.
No, they barely have a starting lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, with Porzingis injured, like Richardson was a disappointment in Philly, and everyone's all excited about it. I'm like, why? He wasn't good last year.
Well, I heard the theory with Richardson that they thought like if he gets more like just spot up shots, he plays better in the spot up threes, and like he's going to get more of those with Luka.
Your boy Cauley Stein's on the team.
Yeah, it's not really a good sign for them. Really, like the second best player in that team is Timmy Hardaway, which you probably want him to be the third best player. Yeah. He had a good year last year though. They're still a good team. Is there a chance they're going to miss the playoffs? Because that would be our dream, right?
They might. I mean, I still think they make the playoffs because Doncic is that good, but I don't think anybody is scared of them.
I would like the Knicks to make the playoffs. I don't know if they will, but can you imagine that the Knicks miss and Dallas misses, and the Knicks have 2 chances in the lottery?
Oh, that would be so.
Because the Knicks have, just a remander, not that I'm hating on Dallas, the Knicks have Dallas's first pick this year, so it would be really helpful if Dallas misses the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think we should go to. Actually, we don't have that many questions. Do we have any emails?
Just reading the chat. Nomad says he has this crazy feeling when Dennis Smith Jr. gets cut by the Knicks, he's going to go to another team and blossom. His first 2 seasons in Dallas, he was averaging 16 and 6. Decent shooting percentage.
I think my kids are home, so we're going to end the show. We got to end soon.
Okay.
How much time? What time are we at?
We are at 49 minutes, so we were going to end soon anyway.
We're going to end soon. I have to go down. I have to go downstairs. They're here.
I don't. You're like running and hiding from your kids.
I know. But I'll be right down. I'm just on the phone. I'll be right down, guys.
They're instantly just like,
It's a Sunday afternoon. I gotta spend time with my kids.
yeah, no, I get it. I'm not giving you shit. I just
No, it's fine. We have one Facebook question. It was
we don't have any emails, so it'll be quick.
It's fine, it's
nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, and Facebook is nyknickspodcast, and so is Twitter.
and they're gonna come in the room in a moment. Would you say tonight's win at Indiana for quality of the opponent and how we play down the stretch is the most encouraging game we've seen from the Knicks in a long time?
I would, yeah, definitely. I mean, you had a fully healthy Pacers team. TJ Warren broke his foot, but
Whatever. Yeah.
they're still deep.
Right, and the Knicks are missing players too. I mean, forget I've seen have injuries. I mean, you're missing Burks, who played really well so far this season.
Yeah,
you're missing Toppin. You're missing the Knicks are not fully healthy. So I just whoever else has injuries, that's fine. Knicks have injuries too.
Yeah, four injuries.
Yeah, and I guess I don't count Dennis Smith's injury as mattering.
three injuries that matter.
Yeah. The Knicks looked it was a very encouraging win. Okay, coming up this week, the Knicks play 3 games before we record next show. It's been let's see how long this stays fun. But right now it's fun covering the team when the Knicks are playing. Jay and I were almost losing our minds for this team. Now they're playing well.
We had to give each other pep talks to keep the show going, and now we're just like, hey, it's fun again.
Through next Sunday, actually, they have 4 games. They're going to play Atlanta, Utah, OKC, and Denver. I guess we probably will end up recording probably next Sunday night, maybe, or next Monday night. Actually, and then they have a back-to-back. So they play Monday. They play Charlotte. Anyway, let's just cover the next 4 games. Atlanta, win or loss? What do you say?
Loss.
Atlanta's also 4-2.
I'm really high on Atlanta this year. I'm going to say loss.
This would be a game that you might want to have Frank back because we need, if he's going to be the true defensive stopper, him covering Trey would be huge.
Yeah.
Utah's playing well also.
I'm going to go for win.
Okay. I'm going to do the other way. I'm going to say win against Atlanta, loss against Utah.
Okay.
OKC has been playing not terrible, but they have a pretty bad roster.
That should be a win.
Should be a win. Denver.
Loss.
Denver's really good.
If you're doing a one-day fantasy league, I highly recommend taking Jokic that day.
Yeah, and the Knicks are going to have that's just a tough matchup for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Enough tough matchup for Mitch. So 2-2 would be a solid. If the Knicks can play 500 ball the rest of the way, I would be thrilled.
That might get them into the playoffs, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but they could easily lose the next 15 games.
They could easily. So just keep in perspective, Zach Lowe on his podcast pointed out last year, I guess, he was saying, I guess it's someone else, but was trashing Minnesota. So the roster's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And they were basically sleeping on Minnesota. And so Minnesota started off the year 4-2. And they were and they tweeted back at the team Twitter page was you still sleeping on us? And the response was, yeah, you guys suck, basically. And then Minnesota was 7-4. And they basically were yeah, how about now? And they're and the response was, your team still sucks. And Minnesota was garbage last year.
Yeah.
They went from 7-4 to being awful.
Yeah.
And the other reminder is the Knicks were 2-1 to start the season, the first time they won 17 games.
Mm-hmm.
So
just a little reality check. Yeah.
Reality checks, things that are early, don't necessarily. But looking good so far. So I'm pretty. I am, as far as optimistic, I'm probably an 8 out of 10 right now.
Yeah, I'm happy with it so far. So yeah, we'll be back next week. Join follow us on Twitch, Crumpled Bacon, and you get notifications when we go live. We have a comedy show called The Brink of Sanity. We're doing some video game stuff, which is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And we'll do all that on the same Twitch channel. And somebody said the audio was a little weird the last couple episodes, so I think I fixed it. So let me know, because in my headphones everything sounds fine. So if it's messed up in the recording for you, send us an email, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. And thank you everybody who joined for the live show.
Yeah. Can you imagine if the Garden was if the Garden was actually folded right now? The fans would be going insane.
Absolutely nuts, yeah.
It would be awesome. Okay. We will see you guys next week.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
My love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say